This is a Stock Trading Reality Podcast, episode 192.
When I was younger, when I was 16, 17, I started realizing that my life is not really going the right direction. Not just because I did anything wrong. It was just my life setup.
This is the Stock Trading Reality Podcast, where you get to see the realistic side of a trader's journey. Get inspired and stay motivated by everyday normal people who are currently on their journey to trading success. And this is your host. He's officially a coffee snob. Just look at him. He's got his pinky finger up. Clay Trader.
Yes, and I totally blame my brother-in-law, Mark. He now lives out in California, and I love all you California people, but I mean, I'm in a flyover state, okay? So us flyover people, we look at you and you're like, oh, I need my avocado toast and I need my, frate latte coffees and I need my fresh ground beans. And all of a sudden he shows up and he's like, oh, Clay, you got to try this and you got to get this coffee maker and you got to try this method for your coffee. And I'm like, okay, Mark. Okay, but he works for Google now and he works in sales for Google. So the guy's a good salesman. And before I know it, I bought both of these pieces of equipment for fresh ground beans and pour over coffee or something. And it's pretty good coffee. I'm not going to lie, it's good coffee, but he also converted me into a coffee snob. And the irony here is on epic proportions because I sit here in flyover country usually making fun of the avocado toast people on the West Coast, but here I am, now a coffee snob. So, Ches, you used to live out in California, Southern California to boot. Do you drink coffee, right? Yeah, you drink coffee.
I absolutely drink coffee, and the only thing I've really kind of changed over time was I had a Keurig, and whatever, you can get good coffee for that and use your own coffee if you want, but the little hoses on the old ones didn't blow air through it, so it kind of got nasty and limey, scaly, and stuff like that. So I literally bought a French press, which makes really good coffee, but the only reason I bought it was because it's super easy to clean. It's literally just coffee grounds and hot water, and you dump it out. And I know for a fact that nothing can get scaly and moldy and nasty. So that's the only thing I've ever done. People introduced me to kind of some good beans and stuff like that, but by no means am I ordering them online or anything. I haven't gone that far. I think Hooch and Scott and a couple other people in the community are huge into coffee.
That's a good
stuff
point.
Like that.
We do have some those guys make me look like just a coffee barbarian.
They're serious.
I'm pretty sure they go on hikes up the Himalayas and they rent a donkey and they load up the donkey with beans and bring it down the mountain with them. I mean, that makes me feel better, Ches. Thank you.
It's like a $5,000 cup of coffee, but I mean, that's what they want to do.
Hey, when you trade penny stocks like we do, you can afford pennies or $5,000 cups of coffee. That's nothing, man.
Yeah, Lambo copter straight to the Himalayas. It's great.
Yeah, it's no big deal. They have a herd of donkeys that can carry, or is it mules? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, what does matter, though, is our guest, because our guest has me fired up. We love all our guests, don't get me wrong. But, Ches, let's shoot straight. He's not from this country, but the guy's a beast, right?
Absolutely, no question about that.
And I'm not going to say anything other than that. Besides, his name is Z. He goes by Z as in Z-E-E. The same name, and that's his chat room alias too in the chat rooms. And like I said, I'm not going to say anything else. Let's just get to Z and his story. Z, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, this is for full disclosure's sake. I have met Z, and I'm a little embarrassed here, Z, so please don't get too mad at me, but I'm trying to think. We met in Fort Lauderdale at the meetup, and then I also met, but was that your wife or was that your girlfriend?
That's my future wife, my girlfriend.
Okay, so your future wife. I thought it was your fiance/girlfriend. And then also, forgive me, I know you have a child, but I can't remember. Is it a little boy or a little girl?
He's a little boy. He's almost 3.
Okay, a little boy. That's what I knew you had a kid, but I couldn't remember. If it was a boy or girl. And I always remember you guys because you are from Serbia, right?
Yep.
Your wife is from Macedonia, right?
That's correct.
In fact, for you avid followers of the podcast, I'm pretty sure there was a fun fact where I noted that I have met somebody from Macedonia, and that person that I'm referring to is, in fact, Z's fiance. Because I'll be honest, Ches, did you, and be honest, I think I asked you this during the fun fact, but I'll ask you it again because I don't remember what quite you said, but Ches, did you know that Macedonia was a country?
I did know that Macedonia was a country, and based on your memory, we got to get you to do some more Sudoku. You're slacking here after meeting hundreds of people. So, but no,
yeah, this
kidding.
is kind of
yes, I did know Macedonia was a country though, and I did think that was funny. That was a good fun fact.
Yeah, and I always thought it was a city for some reason. But anyways, Z, you have a lovely fiance, and you were great to talk out and hang out with too. And I know you're planning on coming out to Denver, but life happens, so you weren't able to quite get out to Denver. But hopefully we'll be able to hang out again in the future. So as a spoiler alert then, and I'll speak for Ches. Ches, did you talk to Z in Florida at all?
I did, but not for long enough.
Okay. So Ches and I, we both have met Z, so we may be playing stupid here in some situations, but for the most part, I think there's a lot of nooks and crannies that we'll be able to explore. But I know that Z does have a great story. And as a quick kind of another full-blown disclosure, if you're somebody that likes to play the victim card, or if you're somebody that likes to pull out the excuse card, you're not going to like Z. Just stop listening right now, because if you're one of those people always looking for an excuse or looking for this, that, or the other, on, oh, woe is me, I'm telling you right now, you are not going to like Z. So with that out of the way, let's hop into this. So Z, where did all this... Actually, let's not even talk about the stock market. You're from Serbia, so let's just kind of start there. I mean, what actually brought you, into the country? And I guess kind of walk us through those initial days, because I remember you telling the story about washing dishes and all that sort of stuff. So before we even get to the stock market stuff, what even brought you to the country?
Yeah, I mean, at the point when I was like younger, when I was like 16, 17, like I started realizing that my life is not really going like the right direction. Not just because I did anything wrong. It was just like my life setup. And I was started to thinking about the options. What can I do? What can I change? I really didn't expect much. It was just like I had two options. One was like to sit down and lose, and the other one was like to try to do something and might lose, might not. And I had a friend who is from Serbia and who lived in the United States for a long time. And I was in contact with him, and we talked, and I asked him, is there any way he can help me, because I'm pretty stuck where I'm at in life. I was ambitious, and I wanted to do much, but I really couldn't I really couldn't find a way out. And it actually worked out for me. And then in 2012 I came first time to the United States on his recommendation, and that's where it all started. And I mean, it's a pretty crazy story how it all happened. And just the way I started, like I was doing like multiply jobs and like a lot of different things, trying to figure out the way to make not to be rich necessarily, but just to have a normal, smooth life.
And I don't know if you guys are still buddies or not, but you got over to the country, and your buddy who helped you get over here, if I remember right, didn't he have like some sort of business proposition or didn't he have some big plans for you that didn't quite pan out?
He did, and that's like a story that can go in like another whole podcast. But what happened actually was I was supposed to like work for him, but that never worked out. And like I said, that's like a whole another story. But at least like he helped me to get here and like to be legal here and to like work here, to be able to to apply for jobs. And that's how I started. I started as a busboy, and then I worked my way out, out of there, started working little better jobs, and started like learning. My English was pretty bad also when I came up. I was not able to do anything like that would include speaking a lot of English, so I could not be a waiter. I could not be anything that is like tip money. And it took me a little time to learn everything. And that's it pretty much how I started.
So just I want to make sure you came over here pretty much knowing a little bit of English. Is that fair? Just a small amount?
Yeah, just a small amount,
Okay, so you came over here knowing very little English. You were told one thing. That one thing did not work out, and I do respect you. That's very kind of you to still give your buddy credit for helping you, still get over here and stuff like that. But regardless, you got over here. You didn't speak the language. the original plans did not happen. And Ches, I did not hear Z say, woe is me, my friend screwed me, now what? Now I guess the government needs to flat out take care. No, he went and he got, you washed dishes and you made things happen. So, I mean, I'm not going to rant. I promise myself I'm going to keep my cool here, but I really don't want to hear anybody's excuses about life being difficult. Oh, the system is holding me down. Are you kidding me? Here is somebody that can't.
Brand new country, can speak the language, but can't do it forward facing for a job per se. And that whole sweat equity thing, Clay. I know you don't want to go on a rant, but you probably shouldn't have promised the listeners that because you're not very good at keeping that promise. But yeah, there is literally no excuses. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, talk about motivational. This was somebody that had pretty much everything leveraged against them. But guess what? Here's a spoiler alert. The system is not rigged against you. The system is rigged for you, but there's a big asterisk if you're willing to work, if you're willing to maybe humble yourself a little bit. And I do not look down upon anybody at all that washes dishes. If that's a means to an end, fantastic. But sometimes humility goes a long way. And if you got to sit there and the system requires you to wash dishes for a little bit, then so be it. Wash some dishes. But Z, you're still not washing dishes, right? You're
no,
done with that?
I actually never washed dishes. I was my first job was as a busboy.
Okay,
so
honestly, I would argue that's even more humbling because at least with dishes, you're behind the scenes and nobody sees you. But as a busboy, you're out in public cleaning off the table. So I think that requires even more humility. But the point being, yeah, this could definitely be an entire podcast in and of itself, just your story. But I don't want to hear your excuses. Ches doesn't want to hear your excuses. You guys are jerks. Well, I'm sorry, but now we have a new data point known as Z on why we're kind of jerks if you're going to come at us with all these excuses and how, I can't get ahead in life. Oh, the system's rigged against me. I don't want to hear it. Ches doesn't want to hear it. But that's awesome, man. And I commend you. And that's good stuff. And I could keep going on this, but that's very motivational. In fact, you were the first story I told my wife when I got back from Florida. I was like, hey, I met this guy from Serbia. And then I just went in. You totally motivated me. So that's great stuff. I don't know why we're just now doing this podcast because Fort Lauderdale was back in like January. And as of the recording, this is now October. So I guess shame on Ches and I for just doing it now. But
no,
anyways.
I think it's better to do it now because at a time I was only like a couple months into trading. So I have trading wise, I have more to say right now than I had then. So it worked out well, I think.
You're quite the optimist. I like you. I like, your buddy kind of does the one over, but you're still giving him credit. You're giving Ches and I some grace here. I appreciate it. But let's finally hop in. You're in the country. We went over all that. So where did you kind of first hear about the markets and what got you interested enough in the markets to decide, you know what, I want to try to get a little bit more hands-on with it?
Well, I just want to say before that, after the rough start and after all those jobs and all the times that were tough for me, when I finally kind of settled down, when I was financially okay, I have my own business right now. It's kind of it's not that bad anymore. It's actually great. And once I was at that point, first of all, I created a family, and after that, I was thinking, what would be that one profession, that I wanna. Because now I had a little bit more time and I was not that crazy working triple shifts and worry about every single penny. I had a little bit saved. I wanted to start with something. I wanted to educate myself. Do some kind of, maybe not necessarily a school, but something that there will be a profession. And trading came really unexpected. Really it's a crazy story. My colleague who worked with me at my current job, we were working together, and it was kind of slow day, and he was on his phone, and he was on that app that at the time I didn't know what it is.
Robinhood?
Yep.
I should have known.
There you go. So he was on that app, and I was just looking all those, usually when I see the app, even if I don't know what the app is, I will usually, if it's social media, if it's something else, you can kind of assume what it is. But with this one, it was just a bunch of letters put together randomly and some numbers red, green, plus, minus, all the stuff that were kind of didn't make any sense to me. And even though I knew there is a stock market, I knew there are stocks, and I know I knew it exists, but like I never seen it. Like even my app on my iPhone that says stocks, like I don't think I ever went in. Like I don't even know what it is about.
Sure.
So yeah, I asked him like, what is he doing, and then like he explained to me, this is stock market. There's the stocks, and I was like, are you like invested? Are you like buying, or like what's going on? You working on it? He was like, yeah, like kind of getting into it. I'm kind of learning a little bit. Like I'm buying stocks, I'm selling them. I was like, really? Like, did that make you money? He was like, yeah, like sometimes I make money, sometimes I lose a little bit. It's like I go pretty small, like I buy a few shares. I go with those small penny stocks. And I was like, man, if you can make like $40 a day, then I'll give you my money, and then you like triple that, like, and give me a percentage, if you know what you're doing. Luckily, he didn't accept that, and I'm glad he didn't right now, because what I figured out later that he wasn't really like into it. He was just like, like really like gambling.
Yeah, just he was looking for the moonshot. But I do want to give your buddy some credit first off, because there's a lot of people who don't have the I don't know if integrity is the right word, but the smarts to not accept other people's money. And I mean, I'm still at the point where I don't even accept people's money because I don't want that responsibility. And but I'm really glad that obviously you kept your own money, and this kind of spurred your interest in it. So you see him trading on Robinhood. He's trading penny stocks. Did you start going down the YouTube rabbit hole now, or where'd you end up going from there?
Well, so here's the thing. I asked him like, can I? Where did you learn? How to do it, and like, where can I learn something? And he said like, you can go on YouTube, and he sent me like a bunch of random names. Most of them were those like scammers. Like I don't even gonna name them. We all know who they are. And,
Gurus, huh?
yeah, and like once I started watching their videos, I really didn't know anything about trading, but I know a lot about human psychology. I met quite a lot of people in my life. I lived in a big city, and then I came here. There's a lot of different people, and I can really like realize who the scammer is. You don't even have to like try to like mask it. You like tell me about the stocks.
You're a good judge of character.
Yes, and like once I got them, like I stopped watching their videos. Like I started going deeper, and trying more YouTube videos, searching for different names, and Clay was one of them that I found on my way, and there were some other guys too. They were like kind of seem honest. At the time, I really couldn't judge like if they are good in trading or not good in trading. Because if you don't know something, you cannot judge it. It's like for me, like whatever you say, like it's new for me. Like I cannot like right now. I can probably maybe say that like somebody knows more, somebody knows less, or like somebody's good, somebody's not good. But at the time, I was just looking to somebody who looks honest, who I like, and who just like has a teaching style that would be good for me.
If you don't know something, you cannot judge. That might be one of my favorite lines of all time, because it's amazing how many times Ches and I have people, whether it's in the customer service, chat box, or, if it's me doing YouTube comments where, boy, oh boy, are they judging. And then you talk a little bit more and it's, oh, they happen to be brand new. So those people are probably not listening to this, Z, but beautifully put. If you don't know something, then you cannot judge. Yes, that I cannot go and judge the game of cricket. I don't know anything about cricket other than there's like big paddles. But besides that, how stupid would I look to be trying to judge a cricket player? I mean, so you definitely have good self-awareness. I don't know if that will be one of the strengths you talk about later, but like Ches said, you're a good judge of character, and you clearly think very logically, which I have a deep appreciation of. Logic can go a long way in life. So you're scanning around, you find like a couple people that you thought you were honest, because like you said, when you don't know, you don't quite know if somebody's actually good or know what they're doing. But is it safe to say that you found some people where you enjoyed their teaching style, at least? Is that kind of a fair summary?
Yes, like that was all I was looking for, honest and like a teaching style I like, because I knew if I buy your course or anybody else's, if I kind of don't like your free stuff, like I probably not gonna like your prime, because if I don't like the way you explain like that, like I would not go their way, but like I actually liked it, and that was like the main factor that that made me buy your course instead of somebody else's.
Okay, cool. Now, before you bought the courses and while you're doing your searching, did you know what you were searching for? Were you specifically searching for penny stocks because that's what your buddy was talking about? Or were you just searching in general about how to day trade or how to swing trade or how to invest? What exactly were you looking for during those early days when you're kind of just scanning around YouTube and looking for a teacher?
Well, first thing I realized, like only by watching the free stuff, not like before I bought your course. The first time I realized that penny stocks are really sketchy, and I don't like sketchy things in life. I like things that are like make sense and things that are like uh they're not really happen like randomly, like they happen in penny stocks. So already got that out of my way. So I was not interested in penny stocks anymore. I mean, I said to myself, like if I ever make in stock market, I would probably like just for the sake of learning, I would probably go through penny stock just to see what they are. Just like to learn, just to have another to know how to do another thing. But that was not my primarily what I wanted to do. I was mainly focused on I like day trading, and I was mainly focused on like uh, trading companies. They're not penny stocks. Uh, they're like bigger cap companies, like probably over $10.
Okay, and were you still doing the busboy job at this time, or had you transitioned to another job? And I asked because what did trading look like at that point? Because some people, if they're working a day job, then they're specifically kind of wondering, okay, maybe I'm going to have to swing trade. So, I mean, what was your job at this point in time?
Right. No, I was not doing busking anymore. This is like 6 years, actually 5 years after I came to the United States. So I was already, like I said, I already had like a normal job, and I had a business on the side, and I had a little bit of money saved, and I was kind of doing it right. So my current job is like 3 to 11 at night. So that was the reason why I knew that I can sit by my computer the whole morning, and uh, didn't have a problem with that. I didn't have like some people work in the morning, so they have to look for alternatives, not to day trade. But for me, that was I was interested into it, and I definitely had time and I had resources, to start with.
Okay, that makes sense. And I mean, that's always a good point. I mean, and for your listeners out there, when you are seeking and you want to get into trading, just realize that the type of trading you're going to be seeking after or needing to do is going to be largely dictated by your current set of circumstances as far as your job. And no, well, I'm just going to quit my job and become a day trader. That's not how it works. Ches and I have talked about that many, many times. I wish that was actually like a valid possibility, but that's not a very wise way to go about it. So always remember, consider your circumstances, and that's going to kind of steer you towards what type of trading that you're going to do. But along with that, that's why Ches and I and the community as a whole is all about charts, technical analysis, because when you properly learn how to use a chart, then you can manipulate that chart, and you will learn how to manipulate the chart in order to fit either a day trading strategy or a swing trading strategy, or heck, even a long-term investing strategy. So that's why we're big believers in charts, because they really offer a whole lot of flexibility. So Z, you find my free videos, you enjoy my teaching style, you don't feel as though I'm a scumbag. Thank you very much. So when you eventually made the investment to purchase a course, did you do Inner Circle, for example, or did you just go all in at once?
Yeah, actually, I tried to go in a circle, but there was a lot of alerts. Like I didn't really, like at that point, I didn't know anything. I knew what the candlesticks are, but like far as patterns or something more complex, I didn't really know anything about that. I was really eager to learn everything, but I didn't know. So like for me to go in a pit and just like read alerts and trying to trade or do something didn't make any sense. So I took my time, and uh, I I started like going through your course. And as I was going through, then I was able to follow the markets more, and then I was started to slowly understanding alerts and just be involved more.
It's kind of funny how we like to look at it as kind of a puzzle. A lot of times you feel like you have a couple pieces of the puzzle, but then after you kind of go through some more education, spend some time practicing, watching the market, it's almost like all the puzzle pieces start to fall together. Is that the kind of feeling you had?
That's exactly the feeling I have.
Great, great. So I guess so. How long did it take you to go through the courses? First off.
Well, so here's the thing. What I do, and I don't recommend anybody to do this. I was well calculated when I decided to do this, but I bought a course on October 10th, and at that point, I talked to my manager where I work, and I told him like what I want to do. That I want to learn something new, and I said that I told him that I'm gonna need a little bit more time, and I asked him, is it okay if because this, first of all, I want to say the town I live in it's very seasonal, so it's not that it's like a year-round place where where it's busy all the time. It was like end of the summer, and there was not much business, and I asked him if I can have off from that October to like May next year, so I can really dedicate my time to educate. And he was cool with that. And my calculation was like, like I was not like in a position where I have such a little money that I can worry about like how to gonna pay my bills and how I'm gonna pay for my food, and like I was pretty good. So I was like, when I calculated all, I was good now working like whatever that was, how many months, like 6-7 months. I was pretty good with that, and that's how I started, and I started pretty strong. I was spending like at least 6-7 hours a day just like just studying.
Clay, does this kind of sounds familiar to me? I feel like there's another person on this podcast who may have spent 6, 7, 8 hours a day going through your courses. Does that ring a bell to you?
You already have persecuted my memory once, but in this situation, I think if my memory serves me right, sounds like you and Z have kind of now bonded in beast mode, and I fully. That's why I respect Ches. That's why I respect Z. Well, one of the reasons why I respect both, but they definitely have the beast mode mentality behind them. But so tricky is the market. Beast mode mentality also has the con, if you will, the downside, if you will, of just because you are beast moding it doesn't mean you're necessarily retaining all the information. So Z, my guess is, and I'm thinking this is why you probably made that comment, you would not recommend this to other people. But I'm thinking you might have had a similar experience to our esteemed co-host Ches here. Maybe were you quite absorbing it all as much as you thought you did?
Well, when I start after like a few months, is the first time I really realized what I got into it, and I really like, man, I knew like that nothing that's gonna make you a lot of money. It's not easy, like. There's no easy profession. If you want to be good at something, whatever that is it trading, is it sports, or whatever it is, whatever profession is, if you want to be good at something, it's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of effort, and I kind of knew that, but I really didn't know how hard it is, to trade, and like how broad the whole thing is. And that was my thought, and but like didn't discourage me, to like give up or anything. Nonetheless, I was like, I had a lot of energy, like I was, like I said, I didn't jump right into trading. I was just like, going through courses and trying to fast forward the process, not by like jumping into trades, but like getting educated. That was for me, that was the only way I can fast forward. There's no other way to,
right. And I had the same exact assumption, which is why I was like, okay, my job was pretty flexible at the time. I was putting in hours at work, hours in the morning, hours after work, and then I had free time after that, and I was just putting in a bunch of hours. But the problem is, and I'm just happy you started this whole kind of segment of your education process with, I don't recommend this to anybody, because I've said it many, many times on the podcast as well. While you think it's logical, I assure you, learning how to trade in the market takes time and practice as well. There is no fast forwarding how you're going to feel when you're actually putting money on the line, no matter how much you think you know or don't know. It's just it's a process that takes time, unfortunately. So you go
let me add in here real quick, because you guys are hitting it out of the park, but let me throw in the added context. And keep in mind, both Ches and Z are talking about it from the perspective of they have a structured education. Ches went through Clay Trader University. Z went through Clay Trader University. But here's how Ches and I, we're telling you, we're not saying that Clay Trader University is a magic pill. Will it make things easier? Yes. But does it still make things actually easy? Absolutely not. There's still plenty of work that needs to go into it, which brings up my point here. So that's why the whole free education route, I get it. You just say that because you want to sell something. No, I say it because if it's this difficult, if there's this much work still required when you have structured learning, imagine how much more difficult it is when you don't have structured education and you're watching random YouTube videos. And then people go on to say, I wonder why there's a 90% failure rate. Well, that might have something to do with it because, trading even with, what we feel here and what I would, it comes with a money back guarantee, but a good solid program, it's still not a magic pill by any stretch of the imagination. So, and I appreciate the honesty from both because, that's just kind of that's how things actually are in the market. As much as it would be easier for Ches and I to sit here and say, buy the course and everything's easy. You don't even have to work that hard. Just follow the steps. And it's like, Ches, we need
just
to change
more to it.
Yeah, we need to change the business model.
It doesn't go that way.
No. So, Z, you're kind of figuring out. Oh wow, this is there's more to it than what I thought. So, did you? I guess kind of what did you do from that point? Did you stop trading, or where did things kind of go from your journey at that junction in time?
Well, one of the first things I realized was. So I like to compare trading I like sports a lot and like to compare them to sports. And it's like, let's say, for example, take a basketball. So if you're a basketball coach, you can teach me how to shoot, you can teach me how to dribble, you can teach me how to move, you can teach me how to can teach me all the technical stuff. But like, you cannot teach me how to score in the last second. You cannot teach me, how to deal with the certain situations during the game. There is a part in the whole thing that you got to figure out on your own. There is a part where you really have to that nobody can teach you. You have to like take all the technical stuff you learned because that's like necessary. Without that, you cannot go anywhere. But once you have that, there is that second part when you have to figure out on your own, like, what is your position? Do you want to play? Do you want to be a playmaker or you want to be a center? You just got to figure out where's your place in the whole thing. And you cannot know that before you learn about the game, and that's how I started. Once I went through a course, then I realized, this is not enough. Now I have to figure out what am I doing here? What's my purpose and what I need to do next.
I'm as a absolute obsessive compulsive nutcase for analogies as I am. I'm wiping some tears away from my eyes here, Z. That was an analogy amongst analogies. In fact, Ches and I were talking about it behind the scenes in our little Slack conversation. But as Ches said, I'll steal from him. Well said. That's perfect. And I don't want to insert words in your mouth, but it is another way of saying, and to kind of add on to the analogy, you can teach somebody how to shoot, but you can't really teach instincts. You can't really teach that killer mentality, or you can't really teach mental pressure. You can help with it, but at the end of the day, the only way you're going to get instincts, the only way you're going to kind of get the mentality required is you just kind of got to get out there and do it in some senses. Is that kind of what you're getting at, is more so from an instincts perspective too?
Absolutely. I would agree with that. And we probably talk later on about this, but I didn't just work on trading by like going through courses. I also like tried to change my whole life about the way, like, from the moment I wake up to the moment, like, man, this might sound too weird or crazy, but like I even changed the way I wake up, the way I eat, the way I base my life around it,
No, I don't know. So you're going to tell us, because I'm extremely fascinated right now. So by all means, Ches, we might have a first here. Maybe some people have done it indirectly, but what changed? How did you do things? And then after you decided to make this change, what did that look like? Eating, sleeping, it sounds like everything changed around. So yeah, I want to hear more.
Yeah. So, I'm the kind of person that I was never like a early morning person. I was never the person that sleeps till 2 p.m., but I was like normally waking up like 9, 10 a.m. And then like once I get into the trading, I kind of move that to like, 9, 8:30, so I can kind of be like, watch the markets. But one of the problems I had was when I wake up and like whatever, have my breakfast, by the time I sit by the computer, I would still kind of feel like sleepy. I I know there is a lot of fire in me, but like I need that sparkle, you know, like I need that to like something to, you know, like to, you know, to turn me on, and, you know, like from the early morning and be active and be more productive. And then like I came to the easy realization that I have to wake up earlier. So I started waking up at 8, then I started waking up at 7:30, then I moved to 7, then 6:30, and at this point I'm waking up at 6. And what I was gonna say, um, I'm sorry.
Well, no, you're fine. I fully agree, though. It's I was never a morning person either, and of course, I really started getting into trading when I lived in California, and the market opened at 6:30. So I had to come to the realization that 5:30, 5:45. That's about as late as I can wake up to get everything. Move in, take the dog out, get a coffee, and kind of wake my brain up. But yeah, I've also had those moments right when I started where I would get to the desk and I was like, I could fall asleep at this desk right here. This is not smart to be risking money right now, but I could fully understand.
Exactly, you know, when at the time where I need to be the more cautious and like the most cautious, and have to like worry about like everything, like I'm like feel sleepy, and that was like kind of getting on my nerves. So not just that I moved the time of waking up, it was just like now I'll be waking up early, but I would still feel sleepy, you know, even more. So I was looking for other like solutions how to like get myself out of my comfort zone, because you know, for every person that's the hardest thing. You get yourself out of the comfort zone, you know. Once you get yourself out of the comfort zone, that's where you make progress. That's when that's when you change things, and it's really hard to change. So I was thinking about how to do it. So I was trying with like, you know, like when I wake up early, you know, to have the breakfast right away, or like go outside walk, but like didn't really help. And then it's pretty funny. Like I read the article about the one tennis player who's doing something before the match that kind of gave me the idea what I can do. And what he would do, he would take like 10 minutes before the match, he would take the cold shower. And what he said, like, that does for him, it would put him like in a, you know, freak mode. It would just wake him up, you know. He would just uh he would just feel like totally out of his comfort zone. He would be ready for anything. And I honestly tried to do that, you know. I tried to like wake up in the morning, first thing I do, like just like, take the cold shower. As much as I didn't like that, that actually worked for me. And like I've been doing that for like probably the last 6 months.
Well, that's pretty beast mode, Clay. I was going to say, Clay, I kind of want to get your opinion here because I know you're just sitting there on the trigger waiting to talk about this.
I was kind of like you. I was, in my mind, I'm pretty sure I'm paying attention, and I'm pretty sure I just heard Z talk about he wakes up and takes cold showers to get him going, and I love it, man. That's
dedication.
Hey babe, go turn on a cold shower for me. Yeah, I think I'm about to go take a cold shower right now. This is that's fantastic stuff. And I mean, I think, well, I guess I still think, but I know when you talk about special forces training and all that sort of stuff, they're always trying to break you with the cold. I mean, that's why, you know, because cold, it clearly does something to you. I mean, so if you want to see what you're made out of, put yourself in a cold situation, and it'll definitely wake you up. And clearly it's working if you've been doing it for the past 6 months. I mean, it gets you rejuvenated, and yeah, I mean, you've noticed a difference compared to when you don't do a cold shower.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds weird, and it's like probably
no, it doesn't. It sounds like you want to make this work. I love it. No, yeah, not weird at all.
I mean, another thing that I would not recommend to people, because like even after 6 months, I never get used to it. Like in the morning when I wake up, and like I think about it. Oh, the first thing I have to do is that. And I hate the moment I'm doing it. I hate while I'm doing it. But like once I'm done, once I'm like in my clothes, I feel like the most productive, successful. I feel just like full of life. Like that's the sparkle I needed to light the fire inside of me, and like it works for me personally. And it's just like that, like that gets me out of the comfort zone. I love that, you know. I just like I don't love to be like, you know, just a person who sits around and like not doing anything. Like I always need that little bit something, you know, to get me going. And that was the thing that really worked for me. And I'm gonna keep doing it, honestly.
Yeah, I just titled this podcast. The title of this podcast is going to be "Get Out of Your Comfort Zone." I love it, Z. That, I mean, your philosophy on life. Z, do you want to be my friend? Will you be my friend? Because you're the type of people I am all about surrounding myself with. Ches, are you Ches is, I know, believe it or not, Ches gets fired up, folks. I've hung out with him multiple times, but Ches, I know you like this stuff too. I mean, you're fired up in a Ches type of way right now, aren't you?
Yeah, it's funny though, because sometimes for me, the thing I had to do that actually kind of gave me a little bit more of an edge, while Z's over here taking 30-degree showers, this is going to sound crazy. The thing that gets me in the zone for trading is I need to be less amped up. So I actually meditate before I ever sit down to my desk. And that's going to sound absolutely psycho, but this just further proves the point that everyone has their own stuff that's going to work. What I really want to point at, though, is that Z knew he needed to do something. There was something he needed to do, something he needed to change to get him into the right mentality to kind of get in the market. And for him, it's that cold shower. So, I mean, it's just as simple as that. Everyone's going to be different. However, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Trust me, I did not start liking meditating. I was like, what a waste of time. There's so much other stuff I could be doing right now. But honestly, my brain is just so psychotic that that's what I had to kind of do. But it's funny the contrast. I guess that's why I'm laughing over it.
That is interesting. Go ahead,
just want to say that the second thing I do after the shower, I meditate. So
awesome.
Not
yeah,
for a long
me
time,
and Z are already friends, Clay. I didn't have to ask him if we're friends. We're already friends.
No, that's a super good point, Ches. And I mean, we talk about it all the time as far as actually trading. But even in this is, even in preparation for trading, preparation is going to be different for everybody. We have Ches, the meditator, Z, who's doing cold showers and then meditating. And I guess for me, I kind of I don't know, maybe do customer service emails at this point in time for the past 4 or 5 years, however long Clay Trader's been around now. I don't know what my preparation is. I guess in my mind, it's kind of, I have my routine, which consists of answering emails and YouTube comments and stuff like that. And I've been doing fine. So maybe that's what kind of gets me in the zone. But yeah, this is an interesting conversation. That's some good stuff. So let's see. That was about 9 months ago, Fort Lauderdale, when we hung out. And you've been trading live with real money. Is that correct? Okay. So, I mean, what does your trading look like? I saw multiple good alerts by you in the room today. I'm assuming you are day trading, but I guess what kind of is your current strategy, at this moment in time?
Yeah, I'm day trading. And at this moment in time, I'm doing my whole strategy revolves around, I'm looking early in the morning. I'm looking for the stocks there. They have volume, and the stocks they're like, they're just moving. They're not gonna be like mud stocks. They're like moving 1 penny per candle, and I like to see stocks that are gapping up or gapping down. Also, I would obviously look for the whole market look alike that day, and then that would give me the edge on the short or the long side. What am I looking more? So that's how I start my day. I just usually go first thing in the morning. I go on CNBC, just like not really go deep into the news, but just like read the headlines, see what's going on. I look if there's any earnings or anything that I should be aware of. And then after that, I would look for my scanners. I would look for stocks that have volume and they're like gapping up or gapping down, and I would follow them until the market opens, and determining my entry point, my stop loss, my profit targets and everything. And when the market opens, I would see how the things are going. I would see what the overall market wants to do, and I would make my decision based on that.
And how long does all of this take you? The markets open up at 9. I know you're in Eastern time zone, so markets open at 9:30 for you. What time exactly are you starting all this prep stuff where you're going through CNBC? I do the same thing. I like to scroll through I have a bunch of, I have a Market Watch app. I have a CNBC app. I have a Bloomberg app. I have a Fox Business app. So I like to just kind of scroll through them, the headlines. Like you said, it's not like I'm doing in-depth research on anything, but just scanning the headlines. So what time do you kind of start your whole morning routine after the cold shower and meditation and all that, and then you transition into this phase?
Actually, the first thing I do before I even open the new day market, first thing I do, I write my journal from the previous day trading, and that's the first thing I start probably like 7:30. And then since in the morning, like I feel good, obviously I'm not under any emotions. Any like negative emotions. Like I overlook my my previous day trading. I go through each trade, like write down like my entries, my exits, my stop loss, everything that I did, why I did, what could I put a comment, if there's anything different I could do. Uh, there is some other statistics I do on it, and after I'm done with that, usually like around like 8:15, I sit by my computer and first thing, like I said, I open CNBC. Then I also use Stock Market Watch. I look for the gappers, and it usually takes me like probably I'm like all I researched it all by like 9 o'clock. Maybe I need like half an hour to 45 minutes, depending of if there's a lot of things going on or there's not a lot of things going on. You know.
Okay, you mentioned in your journal you write down statistics. What kind of statistics are you writing down?
Well, I started doing that recently, and what I do, like, because I realize there are some errors I make all the time, and I can kind of get in my nerves. I really want to get better in that, especially when it comes down to my trade management. And I started like writing how many trades I have, on average per day, how many winners, how many losers, how big was the average winner, what's the average loser, just the basic stuff, nothing like super in depth, just like the stuff that will help me, like that will help me to see clear where I'm at, because sometimes, you think out of hindsight and you just like think you're doing something this way or that way, but actually that's why the statistics are there. That's why we have charts, like so we don't just like guess off the news. That's why charts will tell you what stock is really doing, not just like for us to guessing. It's kind of my chart for my trading.
Right. Now, speaking of your charts, what do you have on your charts? Do you have a million indicators? You keep it simple? What do you keep on it?
I like to keep it simple. I like to like my chart has obviously candlesticks and volume. It has a VWAP line. It has a 50, 200, and 10 moving exponential moving average. Other than that, I honestly don't have anything on my chart. Like that's all I use.
Gotcha. And they're just they're pretty much tools to assist you in decision making, because ultimately, price and volume, that's ultimately what moves stocks or whatever you're trading. So
right. Actually,
now
another tool that I have that is like really super important for me. It's always two charts that I always have. I mean, they're charts, but I also call them tools. Is like SPY, S&P 500 ETF, and Qs. I always have them on, and I always make them to see at least 2 trading days in 5-minute candles, and that would always give me, I would follow what they're doing, and that would kind of, give me idea if I should be, let's say if I'm going long and the whole market is collapsing, I probably, like either won't take a trade, or if I do, it will be like I'll be pretty conservative, or like the vice versa.
Oh, I'm just so impressed with Z, because that's such an important thing. You have to have your finger and know the pulse of the market, because just like you said, if you're going long and the market is collapsing 2-3%, it's probably not the most ideal time to be going long. But so obviously, I know you said your hours for work were much later in the afternoon. So do you sit down and trade the entire market session? Do you trade just until lunch, or what's your kind of rules and criteria for that?
No, I don't see the whole day, and at this point, I don't see that I will. In the future, when I like to sit, it's like obviously before I like to see the pre-market. I want to see what's going on there, and once the market open, I like to trade until the lunchtime, and I would usually not buy anything at the lunchtime or right before the lunchtime. I would probably end my trading. Sometimes I have like a partials left running, and then I would just like sit by my computer, but not actively. I would just like sit, just looking what's going on. But actively, probably from since the market open till 11:30 the most.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's, I mean, I'll trade past 11, if opportunities present themselves. But in my ideal world, I'm not going to be chained to my computer. I got other stuff I want to do, I need to do, and I'm going to do. But yeah, if something like YECO right now, this is the type of movement that would definitely keep me, glued to my screen. Are you watching YECO at all today, Z?
Yeah, that was like,
Do you see what it's at right now?
No, it was like $8, right?
Well, first off, Nate Wilson alerted at like $3, and then I saw it at $6, and then I went to work
Wow.
out. I came back and it was at like $8, and now it's currently at $12.
Oh
So
my God.
this thing's an absolute monster. So the point here being that when monsters like this come around, I have no problem, trading past 11 o'clock if something justifies it. But monsters like this definitely justify it. So
Right, there is always exceptions. I'm talking in general, just
yes, yeah, absolutely, yep. So it sounds like we're definitely on the same page there. Now, I would definitely want to ask you this because, as I mentioned way earlier, you seem to think very logically. You're very clearly self-aware of yourself. So, with that being stated, what are some things? I don't know if weakness is the right word, but what are some things that maybe you're aware of that you still need to work on or want to work on?
the thing I'm right now currently working on the most is my trade management. It's just like I was past few months I was working on my entry points because I had a problem with that. As you know, that different stocks, like if you play a breakout or if you play a breakdown or even reversal, uh, when they at the point where you need to enter, especially if it's a gamma number, different stocks has different personality and they break out differently. So let's say if the stock is $30 and you want to get in at the $30, so if that stock is the type of the stock that's spiking, if you're trying to get after it breaks $30, you're most likely going to get filled like 30.15, or if you're playing the breakout down, the same thing. Which the other stocks are like slow movers, then you can wait that breakout. So I had a problem. I didn't realize that in the beginning. So I was like, let's say my target was like 60 cents, and then I would play a breakout of $30, and then I would wait to break out, and I would click the buy button, and then I would get filled like 30.16, and if I have 200 shares, that's like it's like $30 less than I should make, and then like if it's a false breakout, then I would like just like lose $30 plus lose all everything up until my stop loss. So I was working a lot of that about that. I was looking different stocks with the different personalities, and I kind of like really think that I improved on that. But a thing that really bothers me right now is like I think I'm not great at my trade management as taking my partials and where I'm taking them, and I try to increase my patience. Not be upset when I have to wait for it to come to my target, and sometimes I would like just like cut my winner earlier than I should, and that would like cost me money on the long run. So, and I also, that's another thing that I improved, but like not to the point where I want to be.
Well, obviously, you know what you need to work on, which is the first kind of step. And I assure you, it does get easier over time, kind of waiting for things to get to target. But it definitely takes a little bit of time because trust me, you're like, why aren't you going there? I know where you want to go, but yeah, it doesn't always work out that way. But in terms of things you are good at, what would you say are your strengths, things that you really excel at right now?
My strengths probably be I'm very disciplined, and I think the discipline and probably consistency. I don't have like big like oscillation in my like my mood and the way I think. It's just like I'm a my probably uh my biggest strength is also awareness. Like I know what I don't know, and uh I know what I need to work on. I realize how hard it is, and I realize even if you know how to do something, it just like there's the thing that calls experience, and you need experience. You need to see something like many times to like really there's a lot of things. How level 2 moves, how you watch the tape, like when you want to enter, like you like look many things, and like many things repeat, and if you see it many times, then it's like it's easier, and like uh but you really need the patience for that. You can't expect to succeed like overnight. So I think patience and discipline probably like my biggest strengths.
Absolutely, and that's so much more than in just trading as well. Is not expecting things to come overnight. It's going to take effort. It's going to take hard work, and Z by no means is trying to avoid that. But Z, has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. I do know the real reason you came on though was to borrow my time machine. So if you were to borrow that and use it to give yourself one piece of advice, what piece of advice would that be?
uh if I can borrow the time machine, probably piece of advice I would give to myself and anybody else who getting into trading, one of the mistakes I made in the beginning was a share size. I started pretty big, and then I realized that that was a mistake. And I would say the share size is a huge thing for everybody that begins, because if you don't feel comfortable during your trading, you're most likely not gonna make a good trade out of it. So share size will be like the biggest advice. Other than that, I don't think I would change much, honestly.
Yeah, I was curious how you're going to answer that, because it's not like you didn't show up with a realistic attitude or you didn't show up ready to work hard. But I hope you as a listener, if you've never traded, or maybe there's something right now that what's just up with my trading? Maybe it's your position size. In fact, I would be willing to bet that it probably is your position size, because if you have too much on the line, I don't care how great your anything is, your trade plan, your understanding of charts, your understanding of balance sheets, I don't care, understanding of how the sun, moon, and stars work. If you're not comfortable with your position size, aka your risk, then you're just going to mentally freak out, and trading is not going to go well for you. So, like I said, if you are currently struggling in your trader as a listener, maybe that's something you should explore. For those of you that are new and maybe have never traded, please heed Z's advice. That is definitely a great piece of advice that is extremely valid. So now let's move into the good stuff here. Something burning down?
Is that with me?
I don't know.
I think it is. Yeah, there's a truck backing up in front of my
building. There's a truck. Okay.
As long as it's not a fire.
I didn't know if you needed to go grab a fire extinguisher or something. But so the fun questions here. Disaster averted, no fire, just a truck backing up. But what is your favorite movie?
That's a hard question because I have few. But like, if I have to pick one, probably would be a Sin City. I don't know if
Clay, did you ever watch that one?
I had. That's like a comic bookish one, isn't it? If I remember right. Okay, yeah, I have seen that. Yeah, that's a first on the podcast. But yeah, that was I don't remember a whole lot about it, but I remember it was a unique movie. There's not too many out there like it. Does that sound like I've seen it, Ches?
Yes, that okay. It is definitely unique in terms of its art form and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely one I remember. I'm not a big movie guy at all. But so Z, what about food and dessert? What are your favorites for those?
Food, probably. If you give me the one food I have to eat, if you put me on the island that I'm gonna live by myself to the rest of my life, and I have only one food, it would probably be, I guess, pizza. But I like I like all kinds of food. I don't really have anything favorite. It's just like I'm pretty eat whatever I have in front of me. I'm not really picky.
Excuse my ignorance, but I don't know much about Serbia. Is there, like in America, we got the hot dog, we got the hamburger. Right. Thailand's got pad thai. You know what I'm getting at? Does Serbia, do they have any sort of like dish, or what would be a popular food in Serbia?
Yeah, we have a hamburger is probably the most popular thing in Serbia. We just decided to call it a different way, give it a different name. And
what do you call it?
Oh man, you really want to hear that?
Yes, I do.
Absolutely.
It's called pljeskavica.
Pljeskav is okay. I can't.
It was a good effort. Good effort.
Yeah. Now, here's another stupid question: is your language, or is Serbian language called? What is it called? Just you speak Serbian, or or what language was that? Maybe the
Serbian.
best way to...
Serbian.
Okay, Serbian. So Serbian is a language.
Yep.
All right.
You're funny. Your culture is great. You're so cultured.
I'm getting more cultured. Whoever thought about the side benefits that I've learned about Norse. Remember Norse from Norway, about the sheep's head? That's the Vikings dish of delicacy. But
and Z's got a renamed hamburger over here. So just a little different, but still always good.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with hamburger because my Serbian needs a little brushing up apparently.
Man, we are really famous by our cuisine. The way even those hamburgers that just like seem like they're only hamburgers, it's like they taste a lot different there. And I guess we are smaller, and then we still have we can still have organic meat for everybody. Not like do you have to pay like triple to get organic. It's just like it's easier to feed. We're like a country of like 5-6 million people. It's like we have a lot of land, so food just tastes great, man. If you guys ever go there, and now you have a friend who can set you up there.
Contact.
You have a good contact to go there. I think the thing you will be amazed the most is the food. Everybody say that.
I like food, so but did I hear that you would be willing to be our tour guide if I ever chose to go to Serbia? Are you coming along with us?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good.
Absolutely.
Good. Ches, maybe you may be packing your bags. Does Serbia have donuts? How are the donuts there?
Oh, we have donuts. They're a little different than here, but they're great.
All right, Clay's in then. Anything to do with food, yeah, Clay's in.
Sign me up, coach.
It's funny that I grew up across the McDonald's, by the way. Like,
that is
and right
worldwide.
now where I live, and like if I looked from my right shoulder to the window, it's McDonald's right across the street. So can't run away from it, I guess.
Ticker symbol MCD worldwide. That's that is funny. What do you like to do though for hobbies and stuff outside of the market? Cold showers, stuff like that. What do you like to do?
I can play sports 24/7. I just like love sports. It's just like any sport, mostly tennis and soccer, but any other sports I can just like be on a court the whole day. Like anything that's competitive, I'm in.
I was gonna say Z is just a very competitive person. Doesn't care the game. He's just like, I want to win, and that's the kind of attitude you definitely need to have in the market. So it doesn't surprise me at all that why he's doing well and just kind of on the path. But Z, like I said, it's been awesome. If you had to pick 3 words that you would choose for successful trading, what would those 3 words be?
Discipline, consistency, and self-awareness.
Nailed it. I thought you're for sure you're going to say something about cold showers, but I'm a little disappointed in that regard. But I'll go along your 3 words because those are definitely more than valid, and we've heard them before. But there's a reason why many people have said them because it is certainly true. Well, Z, will you come back at some point?
Yeah, whenever you call me, I'm here.
All right, good. I think I want to have you on my Money with Clay podcast too. Would you be up for that?
Yep, absolutely.
I just want to hear more about your story and all that good stuff, but we'll cross that bridge. But yeah, man, this was good stuff. I like your attitude. I like your outlook on the world, and we'll certainly have to have you back. So thank you again for hanging out, and I look forward to hanging out with you in the chat room and just over time. So you've committed to coming back, and that's the ideal situation that I know Ches and I would definitely like to see because your story is fantastic. I said this before, but I'm going to continue to say it. You just the no excuse attitude. It really doesn't get any better than what you talked about today. So that's great stuff. So thanks, man, for hanging out. Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure. And before we go, a final few things here. If you're listening on iTunes, first thing, please leave us a rating. That helps us out quite a bit, and it goes a really long way, and we would appreciate it. And also, make sure to subscribe to iTunes or any of the other podcast players so you're updated on when new content comes out. If you're watching this on YouTube, realize that there's lots of other stuff on the YouTube channel itself, so go check that out. Hopefully you decide to ultimately subscribe to the channel. There's live trade videos, there's quick tip videos, there's vlogs. We talked about this Fort Lauderdale trip quite a bit. There is so Z is actually in that video. There's all sorts of stuff there that you can go and check out. And then finally, if you're listening at claytrader.com on the show notes page, then click that share button. And if you want to leave us a comment suggestion down below, there is a comment section there, and you can do that. And we would love to hear from you. We will interact with you, and we'll respond for sure. So thank you again, Z. Thank you again to our esteemed co-host, Ches. We will see you all back next week.
This has been the Stock Trading Reality Podcast. Thanks for taking the time to hang out. To learn more about Clay and the Clay Trader community, including the trading team, premium training, and more, visit claytrader.com.